Welcome to the Simple Minds podcast, where we look to empower and encourage real conversation amongst men everywhere by unpacking topics on self-help, philosophy, and business. Welcome to the Simple Minds podcast. I am your host for this week. My name is Travis Hato, and we have a full house. Welcome, lads. It's good to have you back for another episode.
G'day. You opened up like that Barnum dude, mate. Ringling Brothers or whatever his name
Cool,
is.
no worries. So the drink today is a local brewery in Broome called Matzo's, and not the ginger beer. They're quite known for the ginger beer, but I've actually reached out and got some mango beer. So this will be interesting. Michael's just opening them. Thank you, Michael.
He's popping them for you.
Popping them for me.
You actually reached out
Returning the favour.
No, I
He
didn't.
reached out into the bottle shop.
Physically reached off
Travis must be doing well because this stuff ain't cheap.
That's $25 for a six pack.
You having a good month,
It's not
have
too
you,
bad.
He's reinvesting, mate.
Jeez. Yeah, I'm really good at reinvesting.
Cheers.
Thanks to my financial advisor, inspiredmoney.com.au.
Carl still thinks it's him.
1-800-inspired.
I've
That
actually
doesn't make sense.
I've never tried this, so it's quite
Oh, wow.
interesting.
It's very mango-y.
Yeah, no, I don't mind
Funny
this.
that.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
I've had
No,
this before.
it's not very sweet.
No, it's not.
No, it's
I expected, the ginger beer is quite sweet.
I find the ginger beer you can only drink one or two, but this one we'll see.
I don't know.
Well, we've only
Anyone-
got one. We've only got one.
It's
We've
getting
got
a-
one.
Beer,
It's
whereas
getting
the
a
ginger beer
neutral
is more
thumb
of a-
for me at the moment.
I
Neutral.
don't mind this.
Neutral.
I've had it
You don't
before.
mind this?
Yeah, you can, like
Bit
I
dry.
can't have more than one. But
Bit dry?
yeah, I like it. But
All right.
You like mangoes?
No.
Well, that might have something to do with it.
True.
How do you not like mangoes? Mangoes
They're
like
too messy, man. I lied here. I like green mangoes. I like them when they're sour.
sour.
Yeah,
Really?
so we've got a Burmese dish that your mum does it and makes it really spicy, but it's sour.
Can you bring it in?
Yeah, it can do.
That sounds good.
Wow, I never.
It's really nice.
Mangoes are amazing. Anyway, so my topic today is about mentors. And why you should have a mentor, or why you should get a mentor, how you get a mentor, and how you can keep a mentor. So hopefully we touch
Sounds
on
like a
all three.
relationship.
Well, it is. It is.
It actually is, really, isn't it? But like mentors, I don't want to get into the I guess it's a bit of a fad, like entrepreneurship at the moment, how sort of entrepreneurship is in. So sort of having a mentor is sort of in too. I want to get past that because I think having a mentor has been a great thing for many years. I know that people like my mentors now had mentors when they were young. So it's not something that is just a fad. It's just becoming more and more prevalent in today's society. And also, the point that I really wanted to make as well was that it's not just for entrepreneurs and small business owners. You know, you can have a mentor or mentors if you're in the corporate structure or the corporate world. If you work within a small business, there's all different aspects of life that you can have a mentor in. So don't feel like just because you're not in small business or entrepreneurship or anything like that, that it doesn't apply to you. So why should you get a mentor? There's a few reasons that I would say. There's the first one that I would kind of touch on is that the mentors had the experiences that you want to have. So the reason you have gone to get a mentor is because they are in a position that you want to be in. That's probably a really critical part of it. You're not going to go get a mentor that is, say if you want to be a fantastic speaker, public speaker, you're not going to go get a mentor who's achieved a lot in IT, who sits behind a desk the whole time and knows nothing about speaking. So, you want to go get a mentor that is a fantastic public speaker and has achieved a lot in that sector, right? So they have achieved a lot of things and they've experienced a lot of the things that you want to experience. And my theory on that is that why make the same mistakes as them when all you can do is you can have that conversation and you can learn from their mistakes. Don't get me wrong, I think you need to make your own mistakes, but if there's a helping way that you can actually learn from someone else's mistakes, so you can, I guess, make fresh mistakes, then why not? I think that's a really important thing. There's a couple of obvious mistakes that might be along the track. Trying to become a public speaker that you should look out for, and that's generally what a mentor will help you about. Another point is mentors are great sounding boards. They generally are a no filter bullshit sort of people, because why would they be? So if you are going to pitch something to them, talk to them about an idea, generally they'll come back to you with constructive criticism or feedback. If you pitch the same thing to your mum, she goes, "Oh, Travis, that's a fantastic idea. You're so smart. You're so great." Generally comes back sugar coated. And same thing along with your friends and that sort of stuff. So generally, so mentors they quite often give you they're a good sounding board to give you a no bullshit answer. If they think it's crap, generally, I'm not saying it is going to be crap, but they're going to give you an unfiltered version of their opinion anyway. 2 more points and then I'll open up to you guys. Mentors can really see you as a person, some of your downfalls or your pitfalls that you should really improve on. So no matter how much work you do on yourself, it's always a great angle to get another view on you trying to achieve what you were trying to achieve. So they have that experience of where you're trying to get to and understand what they need to go through, so they can see that in you a lot easier. So that's one more point. And the last one is generally mentors are free. So especially to tie it back to small business or entrepreneurship, there's not many resources out there that you can tap into that are a free resource, as long as you don't take the piss, but we'll talk about that later on. That's a free resource that you can tap into and you can get a wealth of knowledge. There's what you can learn from a book rather than a mentor is very different. Both have their place, but both are very vital to learning. Is there any other tips or comments people want to make on why you should have a mentor, or even why you shouldn't have a mentor? Does anyone disagree with me?
I think we could wrap the episode up there.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Trev.
No, I thought that was a lovely bit.
Thanks for the drink, and we'll see you next time.
Mango beer, what do you think?
Make sure you like the podcast, please.
My first question was just going to be the difference between a mentor and, say, a coach. Like, the obvious example from a business coaching perspective is usually you've engaged them professionally and paid them to advise, whereas a mentor is usually someone who's provided that opportunity and experience for free. In a sporting environment, a coach is someone who's consistently in a position that's guiding your team, whereas a mentor perhaps is someone that's a little bit less informal. But what do you guys see as...
Well, would you say a mentor is more on an individual basis rather than on a group basis? So
Yeah.
A coach is somebody that, as you say...
Well, you can still have a coach in an individual, format.
Definitely from the coach side, but from the mentor side is usually a relationship with somebody.
Yeah. I agree, Jacob. I think coaches they stipulate a plan for you to execute. Mentors probably a little bit looser. They're not there to keep you accountable all the time or to execute a plan with you. They're just generally there as a sounding board or a communication piece to make you better at what you want to be, do.
Yep, makes sense.
I charge for my mentorships these days.
Yep.
So I don't think all mentors aren't necessarily free. I don't charge for all of them, but I do charge a couple. It's just more about being available.
Well, that's the thing is, about keeping a mentor. We'll probably we can touch on that now. Actually, let's talk about how you get a mentor. Has anyone had a mentor here previously? Have a mentor? How did you get that mentor?
Yeah,
you go.
Sure. No, I've had lots, different people along the way, and I've just found and looked for people that had a had a skill set or experience in something that I wanted to learn more about. There's many different ways I've paid people multiple times, just paying them for their time because it was worth it, and that's led to getting involved in businesses together. That's led to different things, but I've also found a way, completely just career change and put myself in a different job to effectively buy myself a paid mentorship or traineeship, like under people to learn certain skills. So I think there's a lot of ways you can do it. I think mentors can be paid or unpaid. I think they could be a small piece of sort of what you're trying to learn. You could be learning from 20, 30, 50 different people that you can call on, or one person that's your primary. But if you can add value to people, then anyone can be your mentor for a specific skill set or for something that you want to bounce off them. So it just depends what you need. But certainly finding a way to add value to them, because everyone's busy. Like, everyone is busy in their own life, just in some way, shape or form. So it has to mean something. They have to either want to give back, or maybe they want to give back but they still want to vet you, but because you give them a little bit of money rather than, are you serious or not? So there's a lot of different ways, but really it's just making sure that you're taking advice from someone who has experienced the thing that you're taking advice on.
Yep, I agree with you.
It's proximity is power, really, isn't it, for this? And that's why I use mentors, and why I use people that I want to be around in this sort of situation, is to create that proximity for the people that I want around, because they're the sort of people I want to be like too. So a couple things to be able to get mentors. Don't ask them. It's probably a good place to start, because a lot of mentors want to be are very busy, like you said, and they don't really want to give up that time. So it's sort of, you need to do it incognito a little bit of the time. Like you said, Matt, you changed your career to be able to work under these sort of people to enable yourself to get close to them. You changed your proximity. That's definitely one way. Volunteering your time is another way. If they need something, or you are working in their industry and you want to, if they're working on a big project or something like that, you volunteer your time within that project and you get close to them in that way, create that relationship, and then down the track, you closely work with them and edge your way into them and form that relationship. And then just ask them questions, and they're generally more than happy to answer those questions, but also give them a bit of a way out so that they don't always have to feel obligated to be answering all your questions all the time. Because if you make it a really formal thing, sometimes a lot of people will feel like that they have to they have to do it. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think that's the key, though, is like it's I think with a mentor-mentee relationship, when I look back, all my success I would owe to having mentors. Like, my growth has all been mentors, and everything that I've done. My whole business exists because of a mentor. In some respects of like me capitalizing, is that it's you as the mentee generally have to drive it, because the mentor is the one who's busy and been there. They don't necessarily need your values. Whereas a coach, it can be the other way. If you're paying someone, you could expect them to drive the plan or the outcome. But as a mentee, you've got to do the work, I guess you could say, and you can't expect anything. Even if you ask questions, you can't expect to be guided on them. But I find... Sorry.
Just got to cut you off, because I'm just thinking of something where we've been together and we've sat there in a group of people, hundreds in the room, talking to Gary Vaynerchuk, doing a Q&A, and idiots will stand up and waste their one question, which is the opportunity to be mentored by Gary Vaynerchuk directly, by saying, "Will you be my mentor?" And then he says no, and then they have to pass on the microphone. Like, have the awareness of who you're trying to get the information from, and understand what you can extract from
And
them.
on that, we actually, 3 of us in this room were at this conference, and one lady, which he's now used that video a lot, she asked a different question, and she got mentored then and there, and I bet you her whole life has changed since that conversation. It was pretty much, he told her that she needs to be honest and more accountable and actually have some self-awareness in front of 500 people. She broke down crying, but he mentored her then and there. And mentors don't
That's
have...
our office every day, mate.
I could imagine. And you can be mentored by people through videos and stuff like that.
But you've got to take action. You said it right. The key thing, and having mentored a few people now, one of the biggest things why you would or would not offer your time is through action, because that's your only feedback loop.
Yep.
So giving the instruction or mentoring the conversation and getting the information on whether that was applied and where you went with that, or whether you chose not to and why you chose not to, that's critical to maintain and foster a positive relationship with whoever you choose to mentor you.
Yeah, because I think when I look at a lot of my relationships with mentors, was like I would ask them about this and this, and then I would go away and I would either do it or think about it, and then I'd come back with, so how, like, I did this and so they can clearly see the action, so then they get excited, because generally you're going to a mentor around a craft that they're really excited about, and who doesn't love talking about what they love to do? You know, you get anyone talking on for photography, finance, the gym, and you could talk for hours and hours, so anyone's willing to give up their time. But people very quickly will know if you're asking questions, go away, and then 2 weeks ask another question, you've clearly not done any work. That mentor is going to shut you right off.
Well, you got to show resilience. It's sort of almost when you ask that question, go, oh, well, you know, this is my question, but I've tried this, and this. You know, what do you think?
Yeah.
And so it's not like you're running to them at the first, you know, drop of a hat going, holy shit, like, what do I do? It's sort of like, you know what, I've tried to work this out. I figured, like, I failed here, failed there.
Yeah.
You know, like, how can I do this better? I'm at, you know...
Because I'm quite passionate about this topic. I've done a couple free workshops here where this was one of the biggest hacks for me in succeeding in my creative aspects, to the point where I remember one of the individuals who's mentoring me told me to piss off and leave him alone, because I just kept, like, he'd give me feedback, I'd go away, I'd work, and I'd come back to him with a list of problems, and then he'd be like, did you try this and this? And literally I would do it, come back, what about this and this? To a point he's like, mate, I really enjoy helping you, but just ease off a bit, like, because I was just that into it at the time. But they would offer, hey, did you consider about this? Or I'd upload my images on my work, and they'd be like, oh, you need to fix this and this. And it's always that being that student mentality. It's kind of like, it is the quickest hack to succeed. And I think, Matt, you mentioned it, of like, what I came to learn was that certain individuals are going to be better for certain areas. So if we talk on a business sense, you might have a sales mentor, but don't necessarily go for them for HR advice. You know, like...
No, that'd be a HR headache.
It would be. And I came to learn that. And it can be hard finding mentors, I think. When you get to a certain level, like, it can be hard to find...
Well, the hardness comes from you being, again, open to asking the question. And I say, when I say asking, you say you shouldn't ask for them. I have no problems people approaching me, but bring the solution to the table as well as the problem. The problem is my time. Yeah. So the solution is, how can you impact my time in a positive way? And whether that's giving me some of your time back or doing something else for me, it's got to be a win-win around the place somewhere. Like I get trained at the moment at the gym with Dale, and I mentor him, and he paid me back in being my PT. So it's a contra of sorts. It's not a dollar value contra. It's a respect of what you've got and what you have to exchange. And then the flip side of that is that, you know, whatever stuff we talk about, I keep saying to him, you know, it's action, because that's, again, a monetization of, or it's some sort of payback of the time you invest in trying to solve the problem with them or challenge them on the solution.
And you've got so much access to mentors now. Like, I encourage some of my team to reach out to people and build, you know, relationships with artists they aspire to be like, because nowadays with the internet, like you can connect with people on social media anywhere. Ryan Holiday, he shares about his mentor experience with Robert Greene, and that's a perfect textbook example. And he wouldn't be where he is in some respects if he didn't go have that mentorship with Robert Greene. And he said it started out with just sharing stories about books and it was conversational to start with. So they kind of started out as friends, and then it turned into, so.
Well, that's it. If you can build a relationship with your prospective mentor, you can slide those questions in very quite organically, and even you're getting that mentorship without them not even knowing it too. So that's one way to create that sort of mentor-mentee relationship.
And it can be hard to strum up the courage to even reach out, because I have done that quite a few times as well. Like, I don't know if anyone else had that, but I would be aspiring to this individual. I'm like, oh, I'm a nobody, or like it's just self-worth and blah, 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 and who am I and all that. And I'm like, oh, I should just reach out, and like that fear of rejection, and like sometimes that holds you back, and you simply just you never know where it will lead.
Well, with social media nowadays, it's so easy to just reach out, give them a compliment, say, oh, hey, I love your work, thanks for connecting.
Actually, that's a good one, is like someone comment on all their stuff on that they do on Instagram, and don't reach out, like just comment, and then after a while,
because that's something they want, right? So that's value for them. And that's what you have to consider, like what value can you bring them.
Or use an interesting email address like shit in a stick. That always gets attention. That's a good one.
That's his old one.
What about the interesting way of flipping it? We're putting mentors up on the pedestal here, as in, we seek out
we aspire
the higher one who will help us, which is brilliant, obviously, and you should do that. Although growing up, I didn't have mentors. Even in my younger business years, I didn't use mentors in that traditional kind of sense. But if we flip it around, what somebody that's got a lot of experience, like most of us here now have got a lot of experience from what we do, what about these people seeking people to help without question asked, just helping people in sort of flipping it a little bit and sort of looking at it that way?
Well, yeah, what are the steps to becoming a mentee?
Yeah.
Mentor to a
mentee, but the mentor seeking it out
as a mentor.
Yeah, so the mentor seeking out people to help without them touching them, so helping the community or people, or you putting yourself as an expert in the field into a space that people can use your talent, rather than sitting there going, and wait till all these people come and they will.
Well, I think being a mentor, like, one, you have to be ready for it, but two, you can't just go force your will on people, because one, they need to be wanting to be helped, and two, you can't go and go, hey,
not
mate,
just walk the streets shouting out,
you should
who
really
needs help.
You should really be doing this sort of thing, because then you're going to get frustrated, because you're giving your time, which you
but you're consciously doing that.
Yeah, you're giving your time, which that you value, and then they're not actioning anything that you're telling them. So then you're getting pissed off, and you're like, oh, this guy is ungrateful. So
that's a narrative there. But if you were just helping somebody out, and if that maybe helps them down the track, and you can go away from that, and because these little things that, like, mentorship is sort of something that you may get one little bit of information like 15 years ago, and suddenly it will come up in your life, and you're like, shit, that's what that guy meant. So these little,
you have to understand why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And that you may not get a direct impact directly from that person. It might come.
But you shouldn't be,
way.
As the mentor looking at somebody to help, you shouldn't be just expecting the gratitude back. But
of course not. You need to give selflessly, really.
Yeah, I think you have to. That's the difference probably between like these coaching and a paid relationship, where generally as a mentor and a mentee, you typically don't know that you're in that relationship. You don't put any labels on it or put a box around it.
Oh dear.
But when you start paying, it's different, I guess. But I think as a mentor, if you want mentees, you've got to do the work. People have to want to ask you that advice.
Well, you've got to know what it is you're wanting advice and help with.
We're talking the other way at the moment.
As a mentor.
No, get off your phone,
as a mentor wanting a mentee. I don't know whether mentors actually want mentees. I think it just happens.
Oh no, not saying just you call it that, but helping people, be philanthropic, like sort of helping people out with knowledge that you know that you've experienced over your life, and be able to then share that with somebody. That's a mentor mentee kind of relationship.
I mean, there's a conversation around value and worth in that piece there, and I'm not saying in every respect there needs to be a value exchange. But in certain aspects, they're nothing that's free is
I
value
don't know
too.
if there needs to always be a value exchange.
Well, again,
There has to be some form of value.
There's got to be some form of
And
value
that
exchange.
might just be from the enjoyment.
Could be good feelings.
Like that you feeling good about it. So,
Because
I think-
Michael, you're a mentor for young high school students,
Primary school.
primary school students.
Yeah.
How did you go about finding that? Did they find you, and what value do you feel you get from that?
That was just through connections with Alicia, actually, that a few of the guys here used to share an office with. Now I do. Travis from 12 Buckets, I met up with them about a web project and helping them out with that, and he explained the program, and I thought it was amazing, and it's up in the area kind of near where I live. It's just a mentoring program, 1 hour a week with a kid whose family life is terrible at a primary school in that sort of Mirrabooka, Balga kind of band in Perth northern suburbs. And it's a really simple, it's just being there. It's being there, and it's not mentoring, I suppose, in the sense that we're talking about, but it's just being there for somebody to just, I don't know, trust and rely on, and which these kids don't
Same
have.
thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it is the same thing.
Exactly, and
Just
these kids
talking
don't
to them.
have that, and a lot of business people don't have that.
Yeah.
Somebody just to rely on that can be there for them and not let them down, which is happening to them all the time. So yeah, I mean, and yes, there is a feeling, a good feeling I get. I'm doing the right thing, and that's I suppose the value that I get from it. But I enjoy doing
That's
that.
what you need sometimes.
And that's where that sort of question came from. When can you give your mentorship ability to people that maybe need it or aren't seeking it, but you can tell that maybe need it, or just an ear to listen?
Well, I think that's the big conception about, like, with a mentor, is majority in their field of expertise, they get a feeling of pride, and then there's even a bit of an ego boost. So that's why they're willing to give up most of the knowledge. Or someone just asking, particularly when they see an individual who is got fire and is going through the same. I think generally, I feel like if the mentor can see the mentee has got, like, they see themselves in it, in their relationship, they're more willing to assist, because they're like, I was there and I see this guy is really working, so I want to help this individual because I know they're doing the work. And so if you show that, I think sometimes that's all you need.
It's a little bit like that letter to your younger self. They're able to actually let that happen, like, so you're able to give that advice straight to somebody you can see yourself in at that stage.
And like you said, Hayden, I think that's why sometimes it doesn't need to be that. I actually think you don't make it formal at all, and you just start a conversation. And literally, if I talk from a creative sense, like, people post their work all the time on Instagram. If I was to message anyone right now and I go, hey man, like, not in trying to seek the silver bullet, but I'm like, hey, that was really cool. I'm really curious. How did you do that particular thing? I guarantee you that they will respond in some shape or form. Even if it's like, I'll get back to you later, or whatever. It has to come across as genuine, and you have to be genuinely interested. You're not seeking the quick. There's a common thing in our industry. There's a lot of Facebook groups, and people are looking for the quick fix. So the straight up question is kind of like, it's a running joke of like, what are your render settings? Which is like, what are your computer settings to produce that image? And like, that's got nothing to do with it. And so everyone sees straight past it, and it's a bit of a running joke in the industry. So, you have to show genuine interest in what it is, and you can't be looking for the quick fix. I think if you want to maximize go work for free, go in their office and work for free for 3 weeks or 2 days, or you've had an individual just come through, Matt, who's offered his time up for free in the office because he just wants to be around this environment and he just wants to learn stuff.
And he banged the door down. He came in multiple times.
He's a mentee.
Yep.
Like, Matt,
go away. What are you doing? Leave me alone.
But Matt might not be a direct mentor, but his team as a collective are a mentor for him.
That's a whole nother format of mentorship.
Yeah, because you're seeking out people who have got that knowledge or skill set. I think I'm so big on it. I think it's one of the quickest hacks I think people expect too much, or they're willing to pay a coach, pay with someone money for a quick fix.
Conrad, there's a good story I remember you telling of a sort of very successful Australian businessman that you went to lunch with once.
Mark Boris or Kogan?
Both, perhaps. I'm not sure. Have you followed up on either of those relationships, or was it just a one-off exchange for you?
No, I've had several emails with Mark over the last few years, and a couple of conversations with Kogan, with Ruslan.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I mean, nothing in depth and nothing to the level and extent that, you know, there are fixes. They're just questions that pop from time to time, or I see that they're doing something good, and I'm always feeding back to them information as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's. And I'll plant the seed with Mark all the time about doing something with him at some stage over here.
Yeah, fantastic.
And that's it. A lot of them are slow burns.
Oh, they're all slow burns.
You know, a lot of long-term mentorships, slow burns.
I say no to a lot just to see how persistent some of them are.
Testing them out, I like that.
100% I do. Because, I mean, I know me and I know how black and white I am, and I know that I'm not for everybody anyway. So if I'm going to say no to you and you're going to cop no, then you're probably not the kid I need to be talking to.
There's some hints for you guys out there if you ever want to get
What you should do is send Conrad a lot of messages.
lots of emails
And,
Don't
Every day.
at Conrad Fritz.
and we don't enjoy that at all.
Don't take no for an answer.
shitonastick.com or whatever it is.
No, in fairness, there's a question.
Actually, yeah,
there's
sorry.
a
You
question.
should register
Yeah, I got
shit on
it.
a stick at Inspired Money.
So MD, he touched on it. If you are ready to be a mentor, what would you look in a potential mentee? What are the qualities? What are you looking for in a person that comes to you and goes, oh hey, you know, they do ask you to mentor you. What are the qualities you're looking for?
That they know what they're. Well, sorry, you asked, Michael.
No. That's. I think you said it before. It's about. Is there intent there for learning? Are they open to learn?
Well, are they open to learning?
Coachability.
Coachability is obviously a big thing, and I've been fortunate enough to be around a lot of kids that are very coachable. But the other part that is, well, what are you wanting help with? Because I'm not the silver bullet. I'm probably going to put you in front of more bullets facing back at you. Because they are a lot of internal questions.
Just Ned Kelly it.
So yeah, they've got to be open. They have to be resilient. They've got to be vulnerable. They've got to be brave.
Actually, vulnerability is a massive thing.
Massive
On
one.
both
Yeah,
sides,
yeah.
actually. On both sides. Mentor
But sometimes that's not always that obvious. I mean, I
What's
would
not
assume
obvious?
what their vulnerability and even their eagerness. Like, I would assume, Conrad, that you've probably come across the situation in your basketball life where you've found some highly talented people that don't necessarily think that they need too much help, but that you've been able to find a way to break a door or two down, and that's been able to transform them because they're already sort of highly talented.
sort of seeing potential then.
Would that be
somebody.
another instance as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate enough to be around some very talented people. And
Thanks. That's nice.
Yeah,
that you commented.
appreciate that.
Present company excluded. No, but through basketball, I'm around some fairly highly talented individuals, and hard work is the same no matter which side of the fence you play with. All right, whether it's sport or business, hard work is hard work. So you know the conversation is fairly easy with someone that's achieved a lot in one of those fields. It's then just trying to get them to apply that to another field. And it's easier said than done, but it's still not as hard as what some people make it out to be. And so, you know, half the work is already done for me because it's just translating that conversation, and that's a fun part. I'm doing one now with an ex-professional, well, not ex, he's current professional basketball in WA, and you know, it's a really, really great time watching him starting to see those Tetris blocks start to fit as to what hard work looked like over here versus what hard work looked like over here, and it's not any different. It's just hard work. But he had to approach me. I was known to him for a while, and you know, what do they say? The teacher appears when the student is ready.
Yeah, and then the student
'Cause they didn't ask the question.
The student starts to teach the master.
Yeah, for sure, exactly right. You know, they're the great relationships,
Yeah, and I think
and I've got a couple of those.
That's the value exchange piece as well.
Well, I've learned a lot from Trav. Trav and I have been around for a while. I mean, I don't know whether we were in a mentor, but we bounce ideas off of each other a lot.
I think early on, Conrad was a big part of being a mentor of mine. And then
You outgrew him?
I quickly outgrew him.
Just
reverse. But like you said, it's not that we.
It's true. You outgrow mentors as well. I think that should be.
Yeah.
But I think I have the ability to give back to Conrad now, and his ability to give me. So we came, like you were just saying, exactly that thing. So I actually went out and found other mentors. But very early on in business, he was definitely one of my first.
You always remember your first.
Hang on. What do you mean one of? I mean,
It's an example of a good relationship.
You know your first.
Right? It's an example of a good relationship.
I love a good
Idiots.
black man.
Oh, God. It's an example of a good mentor-mentee relationship because it was a lot of it was Travis asking questions that, in some phases, in my respect, if I was Travis's age, I probably would never have asked them. And that's probably why I never really had any real traditional mentor relationships. Because I wasn't open enough to asking, I was a bit too stubborn.
Do you have one now? Do you have a mentor now? I know you mention every now and then about a mentor.
For basketball coaching, I use Rob Beveridge.
Yeah.
He's probably my go-to guy at the moment in that space. Business-wise, I probably have several, but nothing specific. I turn to my accountant a lot more these days and more finance scenarios. I think the 7am Brekkie Club I've got, the relationship I've got with most of you guys here, I tend to be able to work most things out. I'm not saying I'm beyond one, I just haven't really gone after one at the moment.
It's funny, it's sort of like that. You're always forever growing sort of analogy. Same with mentors. Like, even though you're mentoring someone, it doesn't stop you being mentored, to the next level. So you're always developing and growing, and it's important to have that open mindset.
I think it just depends on what phase too, because in the gym, if I've got a mentor, Dale's my PT, he mentors me there. With my diet, I've got a dietitian, so I've got those people in my life. I'm looking for more board seats at the moment, and I've reached out to Mike Horriban, and he's one of the godfathers of WA board. So you go after specific people for specific things once you become very clear with what it is you're chasing too.
Yeah. And we haven't mentioned our biggest mentors really in life, which are parents, like the family around you.
Trav did. He mentioned his mum being the pat him on the back, saying how good he was.
Yeah.
My mum wasn't that way inclined. My mum still thinks I'm a criminal. So
she knows your past better than we do.
Clever lady.
I wrote that down. I wrote down mum because he had a very different mum than what I had. By the sounds of it.
But you must have had family around you. Your father, that you talk about your father.
My uncles have been very good mentors to me in business. Two of my uncles in particular, and funnily enough, they're now clients of mine, which is kind of full circle stuff. My dad's a mentor of a different perspective, right? I'm not a business mentor, but more a life mentor.
Yep.
And I think you get that by default as soon as you drop the kid arrogance in you, and you start to see with the true lessons that your parents are giving you, not what you're taking from them.
Yep.
So and I have that wish that someday that Jacqueline has the same epiphany in that space, because parenting is mentoring.
You don't force it either.
No,
you're there. You listen. You give them the odd bit of wisdom if you think it necessary, but you don't push it and force it on them.
No, true.
And you hope down the track that.
Well, I think it does. I mean, I think with most children it does. I know it has with me. But I think if you guys aren't, anyone not mentoring at the moment?
Not mentoring.
Yeah. Are you mentoring anyone specific, or you got apart from staff?
Team.
Yeah. I mean, that's a given. I mean, I lie to you. It's not a given that you mentor your staff.
It's not.
So it's good that you see yourself as that person.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that keeps my hands pretty full with 8 people.
Yep. But no external, because you were looking at one external, weren't you, Justin?
Yeah, that was more coaching, I think, which is, I think it sometimes is perceived as it does have a different tonality to it, and it does get to a point where I had a mentor relationship where I had to end up paying because I think I wasn't actually appreciating sometimes the value. So I had to put a dollar figure on it to do it. So it actually can work both ways, I think, sometimes. And I mean, you paid a lot of money for these lunches with these individuals. So I think, but no, outside, not necessarily.
Trav, you mentoring anyone at the moment?
A couple of young fellas.
Yep.
Yeah, just more in the creative space. It comes and goes. They will float into your life for a while, and then they drop back out for a little while and then sort of they come back in. So yeah, don't actively seek it out, but more than happy to talk to people.
Right.
Well, Victor to a degree, but he's doing the same back, so there's reciprocal.
He's mentoring you?
Well, yes, I'm learning from him as the parent does from the child.
Mr. Miyagi and Danielson.
They're catching flies
which?
They're catching flies with chopsticks.
Getting him cleaning the car every day is really good. Wiping on and wax on, wax off stuff.
Maddie, are you mentoring anyone?
But quickly, Dante
still got-
as well from 12 Buckets. Yes, I'm mentoring him once
cool.
a week, so which is rewarding, hopefully on both sides.
Not formally. Not right now. Not anyone that would call me a mentor, but yeah, a lot of different. I think I do a lot of just general mentor activity. Different people reach out for different things. Certainly around what we do technically as well, but obviously the team and otherwise. But I have in the past from paid mentorship, paid board seats down to just having a chat with people.
Well, if
So-
anyone wants a small digital marketing agency to be mentored by Matt J. Hannum,
Matt's got
I like the small bit. Yeah.
Matt's got a lot of experience. He's an accountant by trade. He's also done a lot of property
well,
development. So he's also
Yeah,
had a
my
stylist. He
LinkedIn
knows he can give you advice on how to dress.
If you do search for him, make sure you use the J.
Yeah, that will help.
Otherwise,
you might end up with
the other Matt will teach you a few other things.
reach out, normal conversation first for a little while, and then slide into his DMs with a couple of questions.
Few compliments.
I haven't actually got a lot of time for any formal mentorship right now. Conrad does.
Moff, are you mentoring anyone?
Yeah, not something ongoing, but we often have students from various sort of personal training colleges who have their work experience, and most will seek out a traditional gym because that's where probably 99% of the jobs in Perth are. But some will desire something different to what the traditional fitness industry offers them, and they'll come and seek us out. And I'll often spend a few hours with them in that the 4-week kind of period they've got and tell them what we do, how we do it, give as much information as I can to kind of when I see people that are keen and they're doing something a bit different, I'm quite happy to help with that. And we also have an 18-year-old member who kind of does a little bit of training in exchange for just cleaning and stuff around the gym, and he doesn't really ask for it, but I very much offer a lot of advice on training and tips, and when I see him
Mentor by force.
Yeah.
Come talk to me.
yeah, non-consensual mentoring.
Anyway, well, thank you for dialing in for another week of Simple Minds.
Dialing
Hopefully
in.
this is on dial-up internet.
On the wireless.
Love that. Hopefully this has inspired you to
Inspired money.
get a mentor, to mentor.
Get a financial mentor.
If you like us, please,
If you're still here,
please,
You're still listening.
if you're still listening, thank you for making it this far along. Please share, tag, comment, review,
Give us compliments.
engage.
React.
good episode, Trav.
Just,
I think
yeah.
it's some really useful information in that one.
Reach out in the comments if you want a mentor. Reach out in the comments, and hopefully people that are looking at this may pick up.
Hey, I just try to add some practical value to a person that is unsure of the next step that they need to take. So hopefully it's added some value to you. We'll see you next week, and bye-bye.
See ya.
Ciao.
Champagne.
Bye.